Hello, welcome
Hey,
to This
Tim.
Is Not a Thing, a fun science for well-being game brought to you by Ting and Mickey. So I'm Ting, I'm a scientist at
I'm Mickey.
Mickey, you know, the most shocking stats for me this year, and I'm curious to hear yours as well. For me, it was um, the number of Americans who seriously consider suicide in the past 30 days when surveyed in June by CDC. Do you have a guess
Wow.
of how many?
How many?
Yeah,
The number of Americans that considered suicide. I don't know. I mean, I worry because of the COVID. It's probably pretty
percentage.
high, but
Mhm.
I don't know, 5%? I mean, of all Americans?
11%.
Ooh, is it better for older or younger people?
For younger folks, 18 to 25 years old, it's 1 in 4, 25%. It's
Ooh,
worse.
wow. And
And
huh, go ahead. I mean, I'm
yeah,
curious. What do you think?
is it pandemic related? Definitely some
Yeah.
of it, right? But
Hmm.
I'm afraid that the sad reality is that even before COVID, we already behave in a suicidal way. If we look at the top
Hmm.
10 causes of death, like heart related illnesses, cancer, diabetes, they all have to do with our behavior, our lifestyle.
Hmm.
And in fact, based on a study more than 10 years ago, lifestyle is shown to be more effective than medicine in preventing and curing heart illnesses. But it seems that we don't get to have better lifestyle. We don't seem to make much progress there. In fact, we're just getting better and better at killing ourselves slowly.
Hmm.
So,
What? So what do we need to do not to kill ourselves? In terms of you're talking about sort of the slow killing ourselves of sort of, bad habits, bad health, etc. What do we need to do?
if we can wish two things magically happen from
Hmm.
the head of the universe, I would say better sleep and less stress. And we
Hmm.
can actually, of course, try to also do eat better, exercise more, etc. And they don't seem so hard, is it? Do you think we're in control of it, Mickey?
Uh, I want to think I am, but I think this idea of like more sleep, and I know you've mentioned how the power of even napping is so powerful. But I can't get my brain to stop racing, and it's harder than it looks, I think, to
Yeah.
to manage myself.
And it turns out that, if there's any single one problem, the biggest problem we have is that we think that we know how to change our behavior. We think that our intuitions are sufficient, and we don't
Hmm.
rely on science to actually make the right diagnosis of why we don't behave in a way that we want and we know that it's better for us. We think it's because we don't know better, right? We make New Year resolution thinking that the motivation is going to get us there. We blame people for not having enough self-control, willpower, but it turns out that we're just a victim of the current choice architecture in digital and physical space, and we
Hmm.
don't realize that we have limited cognition. It's just like money, like time. We don't have unlimited cognition. And hence, when we face so many choices, like now we're choice overload, information overload, we can only go about some of the decision deliberately. For the rest of the decision, we just go about it automatically. And habits are a way to actually save our energies. But if we do
Hmm.
everything, using autopilot, you're gonna misfire, in some of the context. So we make errors. So some of these habit formation issues are really not something that we should blame ourselves. Like nobody should feel bad about not, getting all these good habits. We
Hmm.
should blame the things around us, the environment that is not at the moment set up to help us. On the contrary, they're set up to really kind of distract us in all kinds of ways from the healthy habits. Just
Well,
show
it
us.
seems to me when I first met you, you said choice architecture, and you just used that word again, choice architecture in our digital and our physical space. And I guess, what I've learned working with you is that because we're in autopilot so much, because our lizard brain is trying to consume that cognitive energy and everything, um, a lot of our decisions every day are not made in our brain. They're made by the things around us, the architecture of our choices. And so if we can pay a little more attention to our things and realize that our things are not just things, they actually are shaping our decisions. So they might be shaping them for worse, actually helping us feel worse about it, maybe less healthy, or they might be shaping us for better things, actually helping us build more habits, or they might be benign. They're not good or bad, but these things are more than things. We are shaped so much by the outside world. And a friend of mine said, context is decisive. Context shapes us. And I think that's where the interesting thing is to think of this as choice architecture. That means we can actually maybe change our physical space or change what we surround ourselves with, either digital or physical, objects, things, and we might end up getting different results. But first, back to what you said, we need to actually use science, because so much of this is hidden inside our brain, and we need to actually diagnose what's going on. I also think there are a huge amount of opportunities from a technology standpoint. Now that our things talk to each other or could talk to each other,
Right.
how might we broadcast our intentions, and how might they help us as a community, the same way, our cardiologist works with our endocrinologist to like help us get healthier for more serious things. How might our things actually get involved in helping us? And that's why this show exists, really, is we really want to say, let's take a better lens and a better look at things and choice architectures.
I just want to show one example of this. Is just not a water bottle. It actually glows. It's connected to my app. It tells me how much water I've drinking. And if I drink a sip, it glows to reward me. But when I'm not drinking enough, it also glows. So that's a thing that actually senses. Mickey, do you have an example of a thing that's not just a thing?
I have a thing. I should probably invested in 3M at some point. This I actually went and grabbed from near the stairway to go outside. And it's a post that I made during the pandemic. And it's just a picture of a mask and keys, because I kept like walking out the door and I didn't have one or the other. And that would be really bad. But this is not just a Post-it note. It's actually like a trigger that I don't have to even think about. It's a piece of paper, but it's a trigger. And I don't have to think about it. I use the space to actually trigger it. The choice architecture is, I don't need to know about this unless I'm walking to those stairs right there.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the time, I don't have to think about it. So this is not a thing.
It's not just a thing. And the biggest mistake, as we just said, is that we over-attribute decisions to our intentions and not realizing that, how many of us would think, when people go out and not wearing a mask, that they intentionally do that? Yes, there are people who intentionally do that, but a huge proportion also just forgot. And then we know, if we forgot, then we tend to justify it and tell a story actually afterwards. So that's really not healthy. So let's jump into our game to help you rethink, redesign things to make them not just a thing. And we are very honored to have a few guests with us today. Let's bring them up. We have Bill, Jonathan, and Corey. And I believe we've covered all age gaps. Well, it's a very...
I'm 100. Corey has yet to figure out how to use social media. I think we're ready. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jonathan. We're so happy you were able to join. Can you give us one sentence about who you are? I like to boil everyone's life down to a sentence. Bill, how about you? Who are you?
Absolutely. My name is Bill, and I'm a game designer who's had this wonderful evolution through behavior change design and learning design.
Excellent. Thanks, Bill. Corey.
Yes, I am a student at Brown University, currently on leave, and I'm really interested in behavioral economics and how people make decisions.
Excellent. Jonathan.
Hi, I'm a behavioral scientist. I work at the Center for Advanced Hindsight, which is a behavioral science lab out of Duke University.
All right, so we've got a game designer, a student, a behavioral scientist. We are ready to play the game. Ting, how do we go? What are we doing?
Before we go into our slot machine, special slot machine game, we have a little warm-up exercise to get to know our guests a little bit better. And they have prepared these answers for us, and you have to guess a truth and a lie that they tell, which is a habit that they do that most others don't do. And so I'm going to bring up their answers, and you have to make a guess. And when you comment, please start with your name so that we can get to know you better as well. So let's see. Whoops. Okay.
So Bill and Corey and Jonathan each wrote a unique habit, and they wrote 2 unique habits. Bill has a 1 and a 2, Corey has a 1 and a 2, and Jonathan has a 1 and a 2. The question though is they lied about one of them. So Bill says he's a night owl and he's never named his computer, but he names his documents by year, month, and day ever since Y2K. Which one is the truth? Which one is the lie? Corey, same. Jonathan, same. Ting, how do you want to do this?
Let's start with Bill. So if you have a guess now, 1 or 2, which one is a lie? So be a detective of a lie. Put in your number, and we're gonna review the answer after.
So for Bill, 1 or 2, and if you're following this online on Twitch or YouTube, just type in 1 or 2. Which one do you think is? What are we asking? Which one is a lie or which one is the truth?
The lie. We want to detect
which one is the lie? Okay. Which one is the lie? I'm trying to figure this out. Corey and Jonathan, you might want to be looking at Bill's as well and try to think about what you think is the lie. Let's look at Bill's face. I'm going to try to figure it out by looking at his face.
Yeah, the research isn't great on that.
As a hint, lies are always based on the truth.
Okay, let's have our guest first. So, Jonathan, what do you think?
Given the brief conversation before this, I think I'm going to go with the night owl is the lie, given how much you really like light.
Corey?
How about you, Corey?
Yeah, the second one just feels too specific for me, so I'm going to say that the first one is a lie.
Oh, interesting. All right, and some commenters online. Eunice thinks 2 is the lie. Happy Yoga Life, Mary thinks 2 is the lie.
We have two versus 2, huh?
Yeah. All right, Bill, which one is it?
Bill, review it.
I have named my computer files by year, month, and day for about a year.
Oh, really? Oh, not since Y2K. So
Nope.
That was the lie.
That was the lie, because whenever something about changing from 19 to 20, I started realizing that I had all these documents that actually should be more organized by the year first.
Oh, interesting. All right. It's Corey's turn. You kind of stumped the judges, by the way, Bill. That was nice.
I did.
It was split.
I'm actually very proud of that.
Okay, Bill and Jonathan, take a look at Corey's, and if you're watching online, take a look at Corey's. Which one is the lie?
Set my alarm. Wow, regardless of the time I sleep. Always exercise at 5 p.m. That sounds like a lie. Risk it or anything to make sure I have to.
All right, Tim, you're trying to sway the audience. All right, let's give people that are watching online another minute or so, and then we are going to. So this is for Corey. I always set my alarm 8 hours and 8.25 hours after I go to bed, regardless of the time I sleep. That is very specific. I always exercise at 5 p.m. I don't know Corey very well. Let me take a look. Corey's entirely blocked by the banner. I can't see his face. I'm trying to decode.
Okay, let me get rid of the banner.
Take down that banner.
Okay.
I know he's an intern, but that's not fair. Okay, Jonathan, what do you think? Which one is the lie, Corey? I mean, Jonathan, which one is the lie of Corey's?
Yeah, these are really tough. I guess I'm going to, I don't know. I'm amazed that you would do either of these. I'm very impressed. So I'm going to go with the 5 o'clock p.m. reschedule, just because I can't imagine a life where that's possible, but maybe you've achieved it.
So you think number 2 is a lie. Bill, what do you think?
These are excellent. I think number 1 is the lie, because I think in this era of COVID and working from home, that hacking your life by exercising at 5 p.m. is almost like a physical nap. So I think that too is true.
All right,
Corey,
so wait, which one are you saying is the lie? Bill, which one is the lie?
The lie is number 1 is a lie.
Number 1. And Jonathan, you said number 2 is a lie.
Yeah, we're split.
So we have stumped, and let's take a look in the comment fields. It looks like Eunice thinks 1 is a lie. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
Corey, spill the beans.
Also, Mary.
The truth is that the lie is the second one. I try to go to bed at the same time every night, but if I fail to do that, say I'm up really late studying, I will like make sure that I have that 8 hours of sleep. I've missed class before. I like really believe in those 8 hours. But for exercising, I like sometimes I'll exercise at 11 a.m. Sometimes I'll go to the gym at midnight or something. It really does depend. So I'm much less regimented about that.
All right, everyone knows
Yeah.
how to play the game now. So now Corey and Bill and the audience, look at Jonathan's. We're going to do this as a speed round. Which one is the lie?
You can clearly see my priorities in life based on this.
I love this.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Audience, we got to let the audience weigh in. Which is the lie? Jonathan's lie. Bill, do you have an opinion?
I do. It's much easier to plan something once a month than once a week. So I think eating a burrito once a week is the lie.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Corey?
Yeah, I disagree. I think pizza nights should and probably are more common, or at least less, on a timeline than burritos. So I'm going to say that 2 is the lie.
And it looks like our audience thinks 1 is the lie. Jonathan, spill the beans.
So 2 is the lie. I eat a burrito at least once a week.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
That's awesome.
We all got it wrong. We all got it wrong.
I ate a burrito right before I got on the show, actually.
Come on.
We lie, Eunice.
All right,
Okay,
Ting,
excellent.
take us to the next round.
Let's do a really super quick round. Norms to get rid of.
Okay.
Bill.
Norm to get rid of.
Yeah. So Bill said, I only deal with office clutter when it becomes unbearable. Second, I wish I ate more salad.
What are we trying to answer? Which one is a lie? It's always which one is a lie.
Yes. Actually, yes. This is not the norm. Okay, Bill, we're gonna kind of skip yours because this is not yet about a norm. We're gonna go to Corey. Corey has these 2 norms: working while sitting, eating while sitting. Which one is the norm?
That's a norm he wants to get rid of.
So
Everyone in the world stops working while sitting. Everyone in the world eats while sitting. Ah, interesting.
Or at least that it's not the clear default.
Okay, which norm do you really wish to get rid of? Which one? So which one does he really not wish to get rid of? That he wants to keep?
This is the game of triple negatives.
It is.
Yeah.
Eating while sitting. I think eating while sitting.
I think it's eating while sitting as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
Think Corey's
Corey,
eating while zagging. So
let's do it fast.
It's a lie.
Yeah, so I want to get rid of eating while sitting. Actually,
What?
I always.
Oh wait, that's right. That was right.
I've done it since I was young. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with eating while sitting. In fact, it's probably a bit healthier. But I would appreciate it if there was more options to stand while eat. But I don't love working while standing, so I don't mind working out of death.
Okay, you got us. Great, thank you, Jonathan. The idea that it's virtuous to be a morning person and game night.
So a norm to get rid of. He wants everyone in the world to stop thinking it's virtuous to be a morning person. Or he wants everyone in the world to stop thinking about game nights. Oh, the game nights are fun. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, one. Who is with me?
Wait,
one.
What's your answer though? Are you saying one is what
Yeah, one is the answer that he wants.
Is what he wants to get rid of?
No, it's a lie. He didn't want to get rid of game nights. Oh, sorry, he didn't want to get rid of.
So confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, the game nights is 2.
I also think one is a lie because, doing stuff when the sun's up is awesome. So.
Okay, two. For me too, actually.
Jonathan, which is it?
Yeah, I love game nights. So I want to keep game nights. They're really fun. I can't stand the fact that, morning seems to be such a wonderful time, and you're a better person for getting up early. I'm not built
There is
for
sort
that.
of morning shaming if you're not like a morning person, I think, by certain segments of the working populace. They're like, really? I get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
I get up
everyone
at
can
4:30.
brag about how. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we going next?
Thank you so much, everyone. So now we're going to play the slot machine game about a crisis that we want to solve in everyday life. And we're going to pick two things to redesign. And we'll have to imagine a futuristic scenario. And we're going to let our guests pick a color. So, Corey, why don't you go ahead and pick a color for the crisis?
Purple is calling out to me. I'm going with purple.
Okay. Mickey, do you mind revealing that for us?
I will try, or Corey could. One of us could.
I can do the honors.
Yeah, go ahead. We're actually doing it live in a Miro board, so everybody can do this.
Okay.
Let's zoom in and see what that says.
Uh-oh. Inactive. Ting sits in front of a computer for online meetings all day long now. Corey loves it. I don't. Hardly any time to walk between meetings. That's the crisis.
Okay, so that's the crisis. That's what we're going to try to solve for today in this round.
Yeah.
Okay, what next?
Now we're going to pick two things. Bill and Jonathan, pick a number, each of you.
Right.
7.
Okay. Corey, do us the honor.
7. All right.
Lucky 7.
What's the other number?
2.
Jonathan.
2. Goes together.
A pen and a book. Weird.
All right.
Okay.
A book and a pen.
So those are the things we're going to try to redesign to help deal with the stress we just talked about. And just to remind everybody, the stress is that Ting sits in front of her computer for online meetings throughout the day, hardly any time to walk between meetings. Okay, so it's going to be a pen and a book, but this is in some possible future. Take us to the future, Ting. What's the world that we're going to live in?
Okay, now,
Ooh.
Corey, pick a thing.
I had ice cream last night. I'm going to go with ice cream.
Okay. Everything is IoT connected, and we have this new thing called Quarried.
What's a quarried?
So there's actually marriage of more than 2 people. So it's 4 people marriage, at least 4. And with no kids. It's a communal sort of living. So we have
what is the N kids?
a number of kids, pretty many.
We have a number of kids.
So
you've got a 4-way marriage, and like it's a pretty full house.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the future. Everyone, by the way, this is the norm. Everyone has a 4-way marriage with lots of kids. It's a radical future. All right, so that is our challenge. What do we do next?
Yeah, so let's recap for people. Well, I'm gonna put a timer up. We have 3 minutes. So guests, go to your creation board round 1. You can see your name there. And we have 3 minutes for this round to redesign the book and the pen so that it solves this crisis in a future scenario with all IoT.
Everything is connected. There's no such thing as a disconnected thing. So those books and pens, how are they connected to help solve this problem? We don't know. All right, so where do we do that? We have to go up to the Post-it note. You have a Post-it note for each of us. Can you go to that?
Yes.
We'll watch everybody try to do this.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep. So now you got a timer, guys. We're gonna jump to the. We're gonna allow people to see the slot machine, so that they know what they're designing for.
Yikes, 2 minutes. Nobody's even started typing yet. Get going, folks.
What are our tech boundaries? This is the future, you said?
It's the future. It's all IoT, and you're queried with a number of kids.
Okay.
And Ting is there.
And it has to be
I like to give my products a name. So think of a cool name for this solution.
For those who are watching, you can enter the competition with our guests and our graphic designer, Katya. In our next episode, we'll be showing some of our favorite ideas. And we have 3 prizes. Let me show you the 3 prizes. We have the most scientific, the most futuristic, the most practical. Also, after this show, you can submit it by Sunday, end of day, to thisisnotjustathing@gmail.com. They have 1 minute left.
Oh my gosh.
Working hard.
"16 seconds. I feel like I probably have the best idea ever any one human has ever created to solve this problem. But I don't want to, I'm not humble bragging at all. Time is up.
Done.
Let's zoom in. Who's going to go first? Who wants to go first? Bill, Jonathan, Corey, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. Ting, can you, let's zoom in on Bill.
Yep.
All right. So Ting doesn't like sitting at her desk all day, going from meeting to meeting and not moving. So I'm presenting to you Tailspin. This is an internet-connected pen that can only be checked out and used between people in the same household when you share a bit of a story about yourself with them. So essentially, there's no more everyone sitting at their desk using their own pens. We share the same pen in the whole house.
Whoa. Tailspin. And you have to spin a tail. I like it. All right. Wait, Corey, are you still typing? Put your hands down.
Yeah, hands up. Hands
I
up.
thought you were in school. You knew how to do this. All right. Corey, you're going to go last then. Jonathan, you go next. Jonathan.
All right, I stretched the definition of a book, but I was thinking in terms of space. So you can have glasses that connect you to the internet, and there's an app that opens a digital book that's see-through that you can take notes on while you're on your walk and sends them to like Google Drive or whatever it may be. So while you're walking, you can have your little digital book that doesn't exist really, but exists in the internet, and you can write things down on it. You can have little digital meetings where your little meeting people are in front of you, but you can still see the world in front of you, so you're not running into things. Yeah.
All right, nicely done. I have one, but actually, Ting, before we go to mine, Eunice in our audience has a great idea. She says the book glues itself to the ceiling along with the pen, and Ting has, when she has tons of ideas, she has to jump on a trampoline to write each letter into her book. And the multiple amounts of kids, Eunice goes on, she's written a small novel. The multiple amounts of kids from 4 marriages think the trampoline is fun and join in on the trampoline whenever Ting is writing ideas into her ceiling book. This is beautiful. This is better than mine. Thank you, Eunice. All right. Done. I knew we'd get a better idea than you slouches. Okay, now mine, roaming books. So Ting's book, it likes to sneak off from the desk and roam around in between meetings. And the pen keeps track of Ting and will whisper clues in Ting's ears about where the rascal book is. Sometimes the book and the pen enlist the spouses and kids to help hide the book in places that Ting can't find, because books can't always climb like really tall places.
Oh, it's like the Easter Bunny every day.
It's every day's an Easter. All right. 3
Okay.
minutes.
Awesome.
So look how quickly we could come up with ideas in 3 minutes. But you know what? We didn't really use much science. Like maybe we used some intuition. Ting,
Yeah.
do we want to do one last round?
Absolutely. And don't we want to let Corey, even though he cheated, still share his idea?
I don't know. Okay. What says the audience? All right. Go for it.
Corey, go. It's okay.
I would like to add before I go that I was simply adding a sentence relating the product, which was already completed before the time, to Ting's very complicated family situation. But you know that the ideas. The idea is pretty simple. You could do it right now. It's basically, you know, she has a digital book and pen, much like an iPad, and it loses its digital ink, and that can only be refilled by exercising. I was also thinking, you know, like she will have a lot of family obligations, so that like amount of exercise needed can adjust based on how busy she is with those obligations that she can't predict.
Nice.
That's so brilliant.
All right, so round 2, though, we decided it would be really fun if we actually use science. So Ting, take us through what are ways we could help with the actual crisis. Ting sits in front of her computer for online meetings, hardly any time to walk between meetings.
Yeah. So this is a very simple framework in diagnosing. So you have to first think about whether she doesn't do the behavior because she lacks motivation and intention, or whether there's such a thing as intention behavior gap. That she knows that it's a good thing to walk around, but she just simply forgot, right? Like, and the meeting were kind of back to back. She doesn't even find time to go to the toilet, and so it's just not yet part of her routine to walk around. So here, there's these different possibilities, and we're going to zoom into not part of my routine for today's focus, because we can assume that, you know, this is simply not an intention problem, but broader intention behavior gap. I'm actually going to invite Jonathan to tell us a little bit about, you know, what is it with habit change that is so hard? And when it's not yet a habit, what are the tricks that you can do to make it easier to form a habit? Jonathan, would you like to share us like one trick? And I might add to that trick later. But
let's bring Jonathan on stage.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Hey.
And
Sorry, I don't know what exactly happened there, but I did hear what you said, so that's fine. So why is it hard to create a habit? And what can we do to change that?
One trick. Share with us one trick. So we know that.
One trick? Okay, well, one trick would be connecting the behavior that you want to turn into a habit with something that's already a habit.
So piggybacking on an existing habit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So something we've used
in the past. Can you give an example? Yeah,
something we've done in the past. It's standing on one foot, like I'm doing right now. You can't tell. Is good for balance.
Standing on one foot, okay.
And something that you can do while you're standing on one foot that you do hopefully at least twice a day is brush your teeth. So if you stand on one foot while you're brushing your teeth, you're kind of getting two things done at once. And since I'm hoping most people have a pretty solid habit of brushing their teeth, it's a fairly easy thing to add the 1 foot to it.
So this might be really helpful for if, you know, at certain times of your life, it's actually better to kind of build your balance. You know, people with hearing loss actually end up having harder times with balance just naturally, but it might be as you get older, or it might just be because you don't move around enough because Ting is sitting all the time. So pairing up two things, one habit that you want with one habit that you do already, helps you build some association there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So maybe
hey, Ting, can you show the graphic again, just so we can see that graphic as we're talking about these? Because that's a great example of one of the ways to help close the intention behavior gap.
Absolutely.
There we go.
So that's and another example is you have to go to toilet, right? So that's a existing habit. It happens, 6-7 times a day. Can you think about piggybacking, jumping or walking or dancing right after going to toilet, or do push up, right? So that's an existing habit. You can piggyback something more active behind. So now, for our guests, for everyone, we have to do the second round, really leveraging this insight of piggybacking on an existing habit using these two things. How can these two things be integrated to a habit change intervention that would leverage that insight? And we again have 3 minutes. So let me set a timer for our guests. I'll invite you to the second round board, part of the board. Let's see, I think everybody found it. And then I'm gonna now do timer.
So by the way, down at the bottom, there's like I'm hypothesizing that I can actually do something that modifies the social norm because of this weird queerage that we're in and digital life. And I'm going to play around with this notion of habit with self-control. So anyway, each person probably has a thesis, and you can type it in down here about what your hypothesis is that you could apply this to her symptoms.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about that habit. So if you think it's something else that person doesn't even realize that it's a good idea, or there's no social norm about, no social proof in these good habits, go ahead and pick those. I'm starting timer, 3 minutes.
Whoa. So now we're redesigning a book and a pen, or a book or a pen with science. Could be a totally new idea, by the way, but it's got to start with a book and a pen, and we have 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Pen.
Of course, if you're in the audience, you also can come up with an idea and type it in the comments. "44 seconds, folks." Oh, man. 3 prizes. Oh, my gosh. Most scientific, most futuristic, most practical. So people can submit ideas
Absolutely.
from who's ever watching this. And if you submit them by the end of the day, Sunday, that would be midnight Eastern time in the United States, to thisisnotjustathing@gmail.com. We are going to award some prizes for most scientific, most futuristic, and most practical. Do we want to have anybody share? We've got 5 minutes before the end of our show. Do you want to? Who wants to share one of your ideas? Jonathan, Corey, Bill.
Jonathan, do you want to share yours?
Let's go left to right.
Yeah, sure. So this one was inspired by a former advisor of mine who set up had chickens, and she set up a thing so that every time the chickens left the coop, it would tweet, which I thought was hilarious. And so this is, your book is for recording your notes about your walk, because it's always good to be mindful of your surroundings when you're taking a walk, and mindfulness can improve that experience, and recording that can help as well. So every time you pick up the pen, which is the pen you use to make these notes, and click it to take your notes, it sends out a social media post to all your friends and family, or whoever you have, except for Corey, of course.
He doesn't have any
that
friends.
says, "Hey, you just went on a walk. Congratulations." And so
Nice.
That's
and maybe
norm.
because the IoT has a lot to do with being able to sense the surroundings and be able to do things. Maybe it really only lets her post it, or maybe it helps encourage her if it detects that you're outside, if it detects tweeting birds, or if it can hear something, if it can sense the surroundings. That's a terrible idea. Sorry. Okay, Bill, go.
This is more of a prototype to practice this thing before you actually build it. So the idea is that Ting would place a bunch of pages throughout her house, and each time her nifty water bottle reminds her to take a drink, she has to go walk to one of these pages around her house and then write down how she's feeling at that moment. And it's helping her reflect on feelings of hunger, activity, and thirst. And then she compares these notes to her substantial family of multiple spouses and children in the house, and they all get healthier together.
So this is
All right.
piggybacking on a habit of drinking water.
Correct. Yes, because you already showed us that you have that really cool water bottle.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Corey,
very
go.
powerful.
Yeah, so I was thinking about habit being the issue, and so I feel like the way to solve that is, one, with incentives, and two, having a very consistent schedule. So I thought that every hour, her pen, which she uses to work, basically shuts close and can only be reopened by just exercising, going on a quick walk for 5 minutes. But it sets up that habit, and when she wants to read at night, the amount of steps she had during the day determines how much of the book she can read. So like, she actually has that incentive to walk more than just the 5 minutes.
Nicely done.
Very interesting. So this is reward substitution, kind of doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
So reward substitution is something that you've studied quite a lot at your center. It sounds weird, but doing the wrong thing for the right reason, ends up building this interesting new kind of habit.
Yeah, because we need immediate gratification. A lot of good things for us in the future is just not visible in the present. And so we need to kind of get people to do something because of something more immediately gratifying, but then link that to that long-term interest, promoting behavior.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, I have one real quick. Every time a new person joins the company's team, because I was thinking about the company, she's in these meetings all day long, they sync books and the pen and Outlook calendar so that all the teammates are chasing their books around during the break. So it's not just her. So that's kind of trying to get the social norm to be similar. Like, so now they're like kind of like blaming the book, not her, whatever. Oh, you bought a dumb book. No, they're all chasing it around, or some randomized subset of them. And that sort of builds a shared story of them both exercising and taking a break, and maybe how the hijinks happen in the family probably turns into a reality TV show, of course. Okay, that's it. Well, we have 1 minute. Any last words? Ting, thank you so much for joining, everybody. Does anyone have a last thought? Just a reaction to playing the game, or talk?
That's fun.
What I think is interesting is we gave everyone 3 minutes, not a lot of time, but just in 3 minutes, we got a bunch of activity and people online. I think everyone is a creator. Everyone is a designer, and we design our life or we ignore it. And I think there's this opportunity for us to actually engage a little bit more consciously in the things we surround ourselves with and how they might change. So that's kind of what I got out of this 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was thinking it's really inspiring to think how you can be very intentional just for a few moments about how you can, kind of hack your life and make things a little better, because we focus on being productive and working all of our day, but we forget to be that same way with ourselves.
Hmm.
And we forget to be playful and to break the old normals of what things are for, and really focus on, important fundamental values for us humans, which is at the moment well-being. And we suck at it at the moment. Let's admit it. And so, so it's great that we can also leverage the power of science. Even with the single tip that Jonathan gave, all of us were able to actually redesign things using a scientific lens. It's not that difficult, but you see that the idea will be drastically different. And if we can merge the compressible and the non-compressible, the creative and the scientific, we can do wonder. So we believe in this integration of innovation and scientific thinking.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day and the weekend.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.